Hey, what's up? Good morning. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone. Glad to have you aboard with us. Brought to you by Boudreaux's, the Bloody Mary mix, the Margarita mix. If you're going to be enjoying your weekend and you're looking for a few adult beverages, of course, use local products, boudreauxmix.com. You can pick them up at Alexander's, Calandro's, and Calvin's in the greater Baton Rouge area. And if where you shop they don't carry Boudreaux's, I always do here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the video here on my laptop so I can see it and read your comments. I know I've explained this before, but since we've gone to the Facebook Live version here, since we've gone to Facebook Live, I have to flip the camera, otherwise you'll be looking at the back of the camera. So I am looking at the back of the camera, so I watch it here, so that way I can see your questions and comments. There we go. Now it's pulled up live from my laptop. So, my apologies. Bear with me. We're coming. Bear with me. Boom. There we go. Okay, there we go. Good. All right. Nick, Trampus, James, what's up? Nick, how are you always the first one watching this? I mean, do you have like ultra alert set on your phone that as soon as Scone goes live, like there you are? I appreciate that, by the way. Eric, Anthony, Christopher Davis, what's up, y'all? Thanks for being here. So, a couple of things. Let me start with the NBA stuff, then I'll get to the Austin Thomas story, and then we'll get your questions. So, line up questions if y'all have them. So, last night the Warriors just outclassed Cleveland 108-85, and really Cleveland didn't even put up much of a fight late in that ball game. They pulled LeBron with about 4 minutes to go. He got a big ovation. So I guess a thought quickly on Golden State and a thought on LeBron. I don't know that I've had less of an emotional response ever to a sport that I love, seeing a team win a championship, as I did to Golden State winning last night. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I do believe that it's going to be a problem for the NBA. And they've got to find a way. Oops, not centered there. My mistake. The NBA's got to find a way to find a challenger for Golden State. And in my mind, I'm thinking back to those Jordan Bulls teams that were, that great dynasty, or even the Lakers in the 2000s with Shaq and Kobe. And even though you had teams go on great runs, the challenger was different every year. And it felt like that there was some team that in a given year could step up and win it and challenge for a championship. And when those teams were winning, like even they had challengers that could knock them off. You go back and you think about the Lakers, they finally ended up, that dynasty ended when the Pistons finally elevated and won that Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton team in '04. You can go back to Jordan's Bulls and that they played Magic's Lakers, they played Barkley's Suns. There were different teams, and even the dynasties were split. I know MJ wasn't around, but Houston came up with Hakeem and won a couple of titles. So it felt like there were other teams that could win it in a given year, and you were watching something special because those Bulls teams rose above it. These Warriors, just it doesn't feel. Am I wrong? It doesn't feel special watching this team win. It feels kind of dirty. Not that they're cheating, but it's like it's almost as if it were predetermined when you had the greatest team already in the NBA that won 73 games, and then Kevin Durant joins them. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe you all disagree, but for the NBA's sake, even if Golden State keeps winning, fine, but they got to have teams collectively, plural, that can jump up and challenge them, and it just doesn't feel like it. When you've had Golden State, Cleveland in 4 straight finals, can you imagine having the same teams 4 straight years in the Super Bowl? I mean, the Bills went on that run, but can you imagine having both teams, the same teams, 4 straight years in the Super Bowl? When you go into the season and collectively the league feels like it's predetermined, you already know who's going to win the title, so why play out the string? So I don't know, man, and I guess that's a good segue into the next point, which is about LeBron, and what LeBron does. So after the game, Scott, I'm gonna come to your, I'll come to LeBron in a second. And Scott made a good point. He said if Durant and Harden still played with Oklahoma City, I bet they could beat the Dubs. Man, exactly. So think about how Oklahoma City built that team with Durant, with Harden, and with Westbrook. 3 superstars, but through the draft. Think about, and then they had guys like Serge Ibaka. They had good role players. Think about how Golden State built their team. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. 3 stars through the draft. And then they were able to add pieces. It's how they won that first title. They added Andre Iguodala. They were able to add guys that were good role players on that team that fit what they wanted to do. And they were able to rise up and win a championship, which was great to see. But it's like that felt organic. This doesn't, man. This feels very, very different. And part of me says, hey, man, I respect the team taking less money to try to win a championship, a superstar taking less money to try to win a championship. But don't you feel like if Durant had stayed in Oklahoma City, Durant and Russell Westbrook could have been the team challenging in the West? They took Golden State to a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals. Yet here you are. We'll do a quick roll call here. Devin Kelly, Gerard Landry, Carl Dunn. Oh, my pops is watching. What's up, Deke? Jody Moscona. Jason Lambert, Matt Enders, Mr. Anderson, Keith Rosenbach, Darren Thurston, what's up, y'all? Travis Procell, what's up, man? Brent Burlett, how y'all doing? Appreciate everybody for watching. Eric, what's up, man? Listening in Birmingham, appreciate that. Brad Thomas, DJ, Darren James, good morning. Appreciate everybody for watching. So now the question is, where does LeBron go, right? So LeBron, after the game last night, if you missed the post-game press conference, said he doesn't have the answer. LeBron said, when he was asked point blank, do you think you played your final game in Cleveland? He said he didn't have that answer. He'd take time. He talked to his family, people who have been close to him for 20 years, and he'd make that decision. But contrast that to what Kevin Durant said this week when Rachel Nichols asked him if he was going to be back in Golden State, and his answer was absolutely. He's like, we'll work out the money and all that stuff later, but he has an opt-out clause where Durant does, where he could become an unrestricted free agent, and he basically said, no, I'm staying, I'm coming back. Well, you win back-to-back titles, you're on the best team in the world, I guess why would you leave? Forbes earlier this week came out with their list of the richest athletes in 2018, the highest paid athletes in 2018, and Durant, despite giving the Warriors a reduced deal where he took about $10 million less this past year, was still the 11th highest paid athlete in the world, $57 million, something like that, this past year. I mean, endorsement deals will do it, even if you're taking less on the salary end up front. So when you're winning and your profile is that high, it does make sense. So you expect Durant to be back, but LeBron being non-committal tells you what you need to know. Vegas not having Cleveland anywhere near the top of the championship odds for next year, it tells you what you need to know, that he's going to leave. And the question is, where does he go? And I'll be fascinated because really, LeBron's got 2 choices. Jeff said the Pelicans. Look, I'd love to see it. And realistically, anywhere LeBron goes, you become a contender. And if you pair LeBron with Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, Boogie Cousins, there's no question. I don't know financially how they make that work. Realistically, the questions are twofold. Number one, does he go to the Western Conference? LeBron's only played in the East his whole career. If he goes to the West, I think he goes to Houston if he goes to the West. He's best friends with Chris Paul. I think he'd like to win a championship with Chris Paul. And when you think about what Houston just did, home court 1 seed with James Harden, Chris Paul taking Golden State to a 7th game in Houston, and they lost that game. LeBron would be the difference maker to get them over the hump to win that, to win the West. And in so doing, he'd stop Golden State not only from winning a championship, but also from winning the Western Conference. So to some degree, I think that's appealing. The other part of it, the guy's played his whole career in the East. And his final streak is at 8, and you can't win the finals. You can't, if you don't get back to the finals. And there's a legit shot that he couldn't get there in the West if they couldn't beat Golden State. And if he goes to the East, wherever he goes, they'll win, be it Boston or Philadelphia. So if I had to guess right now, man, I'd say it's a coin flip between Houston and Philly for LeBron. Thinking about LeBron around all that young talent with a big like Joel Embiid, of course, a distributor, facilitator like Ben Simmons, who's only getting better, wing like Dario Saric, who can score. There's a lot of appeal, I think, to Philly for LeBron. It's just a matter of where does he want to go. Does he want to be in the East still? And if so, I think Boston and Philly are your spots. And if he wants to go to the best spot, I think clearly that's Houston. Go play with Chris Paul, who's also a free agent, by the way. So theoretically, Chris Paul and LeBron could team up and go somewhere together if they wanted to. Do a deal like he did with Miami with Bosh and Wade. So be interesting to see what happens this offseason in the NBA. But you're going to have another realignment of superpowers, and I hope eventually what happens is that you get to a point where, man, like the super team era of these guys getting together and deciding where they're going to play comes to an end, and teams that become super teams are sort of built organically, because this just doesn't feel like it. Let's see, a couple comments here, and then I'll spend a few minutes talking about Austin Thomas, former LSU football general manager, who's headed back to college football. Kyle Gallo, hope I said that right, Kyle. Pels need to get Paul George. Dude says he likes to do is play basketball, and fish no better place than Louisiana. I think Paul George would be a great complementary piece. That would be that perimeter scorer that this team has lacked when they've looked for a three for so many years and never really found that dominant guy. Paul George could be it. I'd love to see Paul George come to New Orleans. Realistically, though, I don't think Paul George gets you over the hump. I don't think AD, Paul George, and I don't even know how you'd make the money work bringing in Paul George if you brought Boogie back as well. So it's a lot of questions I'll have to work out. Will Wins, what's up? Hey, buddy. Drew's making his daily appearance now, so he's about to walk around. Hey, do you want to come say hi? Bye-bye? Or Big Block? What was that? Dad, you want to come say hi? Come say hi to everybody. Come say hi. Okay, he's leaving. Let's see. Christopher Davis, wish everyone would quit comparing James to Jordan different times. I agree completely. I'm not comparing the players, doing the whole who's better. I'm just comparing. We want to start with the Warriors, the Bulls. You're comparing dynasties, not even LeBron. I don't like the LeBron Jordan thing either. I completely agree with you. Mark, Warriors win with class. Bottom line, I agree. Well, Draymond isn't so classy, but that's not even the problem. It's just, is it fun to watch? I don't mind watching a dynasty. I think dynasties are fun to watch. I just don't like watching something that feels like it's predetermined already. When you have superstar players in their prime, like the best player in the world taking less to go join a team that was already dominant. Like when LeBron went to Miami, Wade was having 30-win seasons after Shaq left. They won that title in 2005, and then they nosedived until LeBron got there. So they put a team together, but he didn't go join a great team, which is what Durant did. Let's see. Now, Jeff, this is what I agree. If I'm bringing Kawhi with him, I don't know specifically who you're talking about there, but if somehow they could get Kawhi Leonard to New Orleans, and you were talking about Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard as your big three, and I don't know how it would work with Boogie if you could add Boogie as well, and then you have a guy like Mirotic there as well, then I think you are a contender in the West. Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, you're a contender in the West. Absolutely. All right, real quick, and then I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me talk very quickly about this Austin Thomas story, and then I'll get to I want to make sure you can see that. Sorry. And then I'll get some of your questions. So fire away with questions if y'all got them. Michael Richards, Brian Ashcraft, John Burke. What's up, y'all? Thanks for watching this morning. So real quick, I don't know if you saw the story, but if you remember this story, but Austin Thomas was LSU's general manager, Tennessee guy. He had followed Lane Kiffin to Southern Cal, of course, with that Ogeron as well. Les Miles hired him in 2013. He was kind of in charge of all the recruiting efforts for LSU. When he, in 2015, left, I guess it was 2016, he left, take a job at Southern Cal, was there for only 3 months, came back to LSU. When Les got fired, Ogeron retained him, promoted him to general manager, if you remember. This past December, he took a job in Tennessee, where he's from. A few days later, he leaves Tennessee. He is not offered his job back at LSU. Surfaces that maybe he'd take a job at Ole Miss. That never happens. And we found out The Athletic had a report that he's going to join Jimbo Fisher's staff in that role in College Station at Texas A&M. So I don't even think there's a way to sugarcoat it, man. That's a big deal. Austin Thomas, I want to go back because I remember when Austin first left for Southern Cal. I remember reading this piece from Football Scoop when he was named the National Player Personnel Director of the Year in 2015. He's also been named by 247 Sports the number 2 recruiter in the entire SEC. Last year, in the 17 class, after Miles was fired and Ogeron was hired, he was kind of credited with keeping that class together, Austin Thomas was. If you go back to 2015, when Frank Wilson took the Texas San Antonio job, Les Miles let Austin Thomas go recruit in the field, go do off-campus recruiting instead of, hiring a coach and letting the coach do that. He let Austin do it. And Austin was kind of credited with keeping that class together after Frank Wilson left for Texas San Antonio. Just a couple of quotes. I'll never forget this piece I wrote it at Gridiron Now, and I use these quotes from Football Scoop. Frank Wilson said of Austin Thomas, quote, "Austin is a future NFL general manager. There's not a doubt in my mind. I've never worked with someone as talented as he is in that role." Ed Ogeron of Austin Thomas called him, quote, "a great evaluator." Quote, "He spends countless hours devouring film and is highly organized when gathering information on a player, from talent identification and evaluation to connecting with the players and managing all of their visits. Austin runs all of it. He's the main reason for our recruiting success." That was Ed Ogeron talking about Austin Thomas in 2016. I mean, y'all, the bottom line is it's a weird situation with Austin, how he's left for places and then come back and not gone. And you also have to wonder, like, when he loved Baton Rouge. His wife loved Baton Rouge. He's got a small kid, a young son. When he left for Tennessee and decided he didn't want to be there, why he didn't end up back at LSU is a big question mark. I don't know if there was some of this going on, or if Ed got his feelings hurt because Austin left and then he didn't want to take it back. I don't know. But, I mean, there are very obvious questions that have... Look, Emil just asked the question. Why do you think he wasn't offered his position back at LSU? It's one of two things. Either the reason he left for Tennessee initially was because he was trying to get away from the new staff. I mean, it's that, or Ed Ogeron, after Austin left, realized the job wasn't what he thought it was and was coming back. Ed was like, "Well, you left, you can't come back." I mean, it's literally one of those two things. I mean, it's if Ogeron was saying 2 years ago that he's the main reason for our recruiting success, and now you don't want the guy back. I mean, like there's obviously a friction. It's either Austin trying to get away or Ed not wanting him back because he was hurt that he left for Tennessee in the first place. Either way, like it's not a quality of your job issue would happen there. Devin Kelly said Ogeron screwed the pooch by not taking him back. I would absolutely agree. And, I mentioned this on AFR yesterday, and some people took exception to it, so I want to make sure that when I make this point, I make it very clearly here. Because Austin Thomas organized LSU's recruiting efforts. So when he organized the recruiting board, not only wide but deep, so like ranking players, but then also evaluating needs, and how you would organize the 25 guys that you sign based on your needs. Like, look at what happened this year without Austin Thomas. Like, look at how LSU managed this class. They finished ranked 15th in the country, lowest rated recruiting class in a decade, since I think Les's first class in 2005, which had like 13 kids signed to it. But also look at all the mismanagement of the numbers. You thought you had Surtain in the boat, but because you mismanaged that, you missed on Mario Goodrich, who had already gone to Clemson because you didn't have a spot, because you gave a spot to a one-year placeholder at kicker in Cole Tracy, and you didn't get a quarterback, but you went all in on James Foster, who was never really going to come here, and because you were holding that spot for Foster in case you wanted to commit, you didn't have the spot for Goodrich, the corner. You see what I mean? It's like all of those things matter when in recruiting, when you're trying to balance need, who's available, who's realistic, how you prioritize things and who you get in the boat. And it's why, quite honestly, LSU ended up in the position they did. A big reason for it was the guy who organized all that wasn't there. Chuck Sanchez, who's doing that job now? Nobody. I mean, truthfully, like the guy who would be handling that sort of stuff is Derek Panamsky. But I don't think. But Derek. Someone said, "Don't say Panamsky." Hey, sweetheart, come see. Come say hi to everybody. Drew's in here. Hang on. If you're new to this, Drew I leave the doors of my office open. He usually pops in. You come say hi to everybody. No, you don't want to come say hi?
No.
More what, baby? You say hi? Look, there's Daddy on the screen. I bet Drew's gonna come on the screen in a minute. I love you. You want to sit on my lap? Okay. Come see me. Okay. Let's say hi to everybody. Okay. Look, is Daddy on the screen? So anyway, to answer the question, nobody's doing that job. Derek is Ed's sort of right-hand man, but they haven't formally filled Austin Thomas's spot. So as far as a general manager, and I think they're just like, what I was told is they're sort of just divvying up those responsibilities. What you want, baby? You want clap hands? Clap hands, clap hands. For mommy comes home. Mama comes home. Mama go. Hey, listen, Daddy's going to finish his video, and then we're going to go for a ride in the car, okay? Okay? All right. Let's see if we can talk to some of these people. Michael says, hi, Drew. Say hi. Can you say hi? Erica? Or you want a cookie? Elmo. Elmo's on in here. Go watch Elmo in the other room. Go watch Elmo. Elmo's on in the other room. Go watch it. I'll come in there in a second. Okay. That's true. Bradley DeSell, what's up? Michael Brown, what's up? Yeah, so anyway, so the whole thing with Austin Thomas, not only does it's kind of the double whammy, right? Like if you lose a recruit, like Pat Surtain, if you lose Pat Surtain and he goes to USC, no problem. You'll never see him again. He goes to Alabama, you got to see him every year. So that's what stinks. Same thing with Austin Thomas. So not only is he not on your staff anymore, but he's also at Texas A&M now, where he's going to help Jimbo's recruiting efforts for however long and be recruiting against you and organizing recruiting classes against you. So that's kind of the super disappointing thing about that. And if you haven't noticed, 247 rankings for next year, which will be Jimbo's first full class. Hang on, sweetheart. Okay, hey, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Bama's 1, Oklahoma's 2, A&M's 3rd in the country right now already in the 247 rankings for 2019, and now they're adding Austin Thomas. LSU's 15 in the rankings right now. But truthfully, if LSU gets Stingley in a couple of weeks, which I 100% think they will, I'd be stunned if they didn't get Derek Stingley, the cornerback out of Dunham, who's a 5-star. LSU's going to rise in those rankings. But it's, hey, Drew, come see, baby. It's okay. It's okay. All right, we're about to wrap this up because he's getting unhappy. So, all right, y'all have a great day. Please hit the share button if you've not hit it yet. Go see our friends at Boudreaux's. Pick up some Boudreaux's, Alexander's, Calandro's, Calvin's in Baton Rouge. Online, boudreauxmix.com. They got the Bloody Mary mix. It's easy. You just shake it, you pour it, you stir it. Check out all their social media as well. Follow them on social media. The Facebook link is linked here in the post if you're watching this on Facebook. So, in the meantime, y'all have a great weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow for Morning Scone.